Good evening and welcome to a new edition of To The Point. Until quite recently, we never thought that Egypt can reach a stage whereby we would say that we have ample energy and it could be a good source of revenue. Initially, we thought we were establishing and investing in that sector so that we'd be self-sufficient. We wouldn't have any shortages. We would have ample energy to build infrastructure, to develop the industrial sector. Now we're talking about exporting energy. We're talking about it being a good part of our economic reform program. We're talking about it being a good part, or it could contribute largely to as a source of revenue. This evening with a distinguished gentleman, we'll be discussing how are we progressing in that field. We have two large conferences that are being held as we talk, one in Brussels and one in Abu Dhabi. We'll be delving into those conferences and how we can capitalize on that sector to be really our bread and butter. With us this evening is Dr. Engineer Mostafa Kamel Hadhoud, who is a professor of chemical engineering. A pleasure to have you with us.
Good evening.
Lots of conferences. Egypt is very, very active. I know that a few months ago we were discussing this sector, but it seems that we are pursuing it quite aggressively, not only in the regular petroleum sector, but now we're really aspiring to take large strides in renewable energy as well.
Yes.
Our minister is participating, the Minister of Petroleum is participating in the 24th World Energy Congress, and it is talking about energy for prosperity. How can energy make Egypt prosper, in your point of view?
I think energy is the main point on the main field which can help Egypt to be more progress, locally and internationally. Why? Because frankly speaking, is that during the last 6 years, Egypt did a good plan and a lot of work was done and still done in this field. We are working in parallel directions in order to meet together in one point that Egypt will be in the future a hub of energy in the Middle East area. Why? Because we are working in the field of natural gas resources, crude oil resources, and we plan a good agreement with Cyprus and with Greece, and we make an agreement with the naval border in order to encourage foreign companies in order to make their discoveries in our land. Fortunately, during the last 6 years, we succeeded a lot, because in 2013 and 2014, we were in a lack of natural gas. We were producing only about 4.5 million cubic feet per day. Our requirement was that in that time was about 6. So we were importing natural gas the first time from about 15 years to import natural gas from foreign countries.
Yes.
But fortunately, during the last 6 years, and I think that during our president make this field very important to him. He would like to succeed and to be Egypt to be one of the biggest countries in this area. So there was agreement with Eni from Italy, and we encourage them to invest more. They make investment until now not less than $14 billion from Eni and other companies in Shuruk, in Zohr, in front of Bursaid. Nowadays, instead of 4.5, we are now producing 7.5. So during 3 years, we succeeded to be more than our requirements. This is the first point. The second point, we make agreement with Saudi Arabia in Red Sea, and also agreement with the naval border between our country and Saudi Arabia. This encourage foreign companies in order to make discoveries for crude oil in Red Sea. So the future for crude oil will be also positive like natural gas. So this is the first task which was done correctly. We have now many areas producing natural gas. BB in front of Alexandria, Atul in front of Brolus, Zohr in front of Port Said, and in the future and in the next 3-4 years there is a big areas. Noor, it will be, if it will be more positively, this our incoming from natural gas will be more than 10 million cubic feet per day. The second thing, that Egypt is the first country and the only country in the area which has two companies in Dumyat and in Edco, which change natural gas to liquefaction of natural gas. It's big two stations. So the only country in the area which can
Middle East and North Africa.
Yes.
Okay.
And east of the Mediterranean Sea.
Okay.
Syria, Israel, and all these countries didn't have this opportunity. So through these two companies, we can collect all natural gas from Cyprus, from Greece, from other countries to be liquefied in our two companies, and can be exported to foreign countries, like for example Italy, France, Spain. They need natural gas. For this reason, this is the main task of our country now, that we need to make Egypt a hub of energy in this area. So the third sector is electrical energy. We suffer a lot during
a few years ago we had
suffer
a lot of power shortages. Yes.
So really our president make a plan, that the first plan, which was very quickly, that during year 2015 and 2016 we must change our production from 25 gigawatt to reach 31 or 32 gigawatt, and we succeeded. The second plan, that he make agreement with Siemens company in Germany, and we erect 3 big stations, one in Brolus, and the second in the new capital, and the third in Biba in Bani Suef. So these 3 stations will produce 14.8 thousand megawatt. So 31 and about 14. The third one, that we make agreement with Russia to make stations in El Dab'a, nuclear energy, the first time in Egypt. The first unit will start to work in 2026, and second 2007, and then 8 and 9. And there was yesterday there was a meeting with our president and with people sector responsible for electric energy and petroleum. What is the steps of preparation of our country for this? The third one, which we speak about renewable energy.
Yes, because this is the future.
The future. The world suffer a lot, and the human suffer a lot from many problems. What is the main problems and the main obstacles against our human in all of the world? The first that the percentage of increasing of the carbon dioxide and the carbon monoxide and the methane from burning of natural gas and the crude oil and from burning of forests. You see last months, big fires in Russia, big fires in Brazil, big fires in Australia, forest for 10 days, 15 days. So the percentage of carbon dioxide and the percentage of methane in the atmosphere will increase.
That's why it was in this conference. One of the issues was a low carbon, converting our economy into a low carbon economy.
How?
How are we going to do that?
Decrease the use of crude oil and natural gas for burning.
Okay.
How? Change from stations worked by solar or mazut or natural gas to solar energy.
You're talking about the industrial sector that operate
also
industries.
Yes. Second, that we must the plan in the world that the production of electrical energy in 2030 must be at least 35 to 40% from it to be renewable energy. What is renewable energy? Photovoltaic solar energy, wind energy, water energy, biomass energy.
And we're blessed with all kinds of We have the raw material for all of it.
For that reason, I see that Egypt take a share, and with high percentage this share, to prevent the world from damage. Why? Egypt, one of the biggest country which has good sun rays and vertical sun rays, especially south of Aswan. For that reason, we started in Biban, in Nag Hammadi, we started the first time the biggest station in all of the world to produce photovoltaic solar energy. From this station, we shall produce 1.6 up to 1.8 thousand megawatt. And it will be start to work after 3 months. We started to erect from 1 year, but the start of production and giving electricity for the net about 3 months or 4 months more. This is the first station. And in the future, we plan in Egypt that every year we must erect new photovoltaic solar energy farms to produce at least 500 to 600 megawatt. This means what? And we are making a plan, good plan, that 2030 we must reach that our share from solar energy, from wind energy, from water energy like high dam, and from biomass to be not less than 35%. And in 2050 must be not less than 55%. So
those percentages compared to the world, where do we stand? In other words, in some sectors we were far behind. When you say by 2050, around 55%.
Like the world.
We will be the same. We will not be behind.
And the best in the world. Why? Because our country has good sign.
You have good resources.
Our country has good resources from water. Our country has good resources from wind energy. So for that reason, our share will be the same like the world and maybe more better than many other countries. So I see that Egypt share in this field with high percentage. And crude oil and natural gas, instead of using to be as a burner for cars and the burner for yielding electricity and the burner for factories, no, we can use this natural gas. It is composed of 3 main components, methane and propane. These 3 components are the main chemical components used in the world to produce all chemicals for medicine, for industry, for agriculture. This is the main source. So it is for benefit of human not to use natural gas for burning. Please change it to petrochemicals. Change it to chemicals material. So also our country started a good plan that we erect every year at least 2 or 3 factories producing petrochemicals material. For example, like you know, production of polyethylene, PVC, polypropylene, polystyrene, polycarbonate, and more materials we need to be in our country. So I encourage the investors to start to build new companies in our country to produce the natural petrochemicals, especially that from this year we have more natural gas. We have than our requirements. Our requirements is about 6.5 billion cubic feet per day. We are producing now 7.5. In the next year will be 9. After
and you don't need all that.
We don't need. Yes. It is better not to be exported to outside. No, change this excess of natural gas to petrochemicals.
And export the petrochemicals.
And export petrochemicals. And prevent importing petrochemicals from abroad to our country. So we must increase our production capacity in petrochemicals to stop the importing, and the excess will be exporting to African countries, to European countries, to Arab countries. So this is a big struggle that to improve our economy. Natural gas and petroleum is the main point how to increase more our economy in our country.
There was talk about exporting renewable energy.
Yes.
Should we be exporting renewable energy now, or replacing our sources of energy that are not environmentally friendly with renewable energy and using the other sources, as you were saying, the natural gas for other industrial purposes?
Both. Our strategy that replacing the old and normal resources of electric energy to be renewable energy, in order to share, to prevent all obstacles against human in all of the world. The second, that we must export electrical energy produced from renewable energy.
Providing you have the excess.
Yes, we have now excess. The first time in our country that we have excess now more than 10.
But not from renewable sources.
No, from the other. But now, after 3 months, 1.6 thousand megawatt will be from photovoltaic solar energy, which will be entered into the net. So by this means that we have excess. Also, we make in Zafarana the wind energy. We shall make in Galala the new sources of producing energy like Haidam, nuclear energy. Why make this distribution? Now all the places from Saloum up to Arish, all these places we shall erect new stations for desalination of seawater. The main struggle and the main requirements in the future to find water. The quantity of water, 55.5 million meter cube per year, it is not sufficient for industry, not sufficient for agriculture, not sufficient for human application. So after about 12 years, in 2030, we need to make new stations for desalination, and this to produce at least 20 million cubic meter. They need electricity. These stations will need at least 15,000 megawatts. For that reason, our country will make a good plan. We must make nuclear station in Dab'a in order to produce energy for these stations. We shall make new stations in Red Sea in order to make for this electricity. We shall make in Sinai. So this is the strategy of our country, that the requirements for human and for agriculture or for desalination will need more energy. For that reason, our country now make a plan that in 2030 we must produce at least 80,000 megawatts.
Which is what percentage of our use? It would cover how much?
It will be cover more than our requirement and will be more. Our requirements will be about 70. Our plan to be 80 in order to be for the future. It will cover 100% and at least 10,000 will be more. So by this way, our country make two points, very good 2 points, that we satisfaction and for all requirements, and second, that we can export energy either through electric energy or export crude oil or export natural gas or export petrochemicals, which is the main product from natural gas and from crude oil. Also, you know that crude oil, it is a composition of different material. In order to produce from crude oil the bitumen for roads and the liquids, which is naphtha and benzene and solar and mazut, and the sector of gases which is used for biogas, we must make refining. So our country also make a good plan that we improve the refining stations in Suez and in Amriya. Now we erect a very big refining station in Mustorot. We make improvement of refining station in Asyut. We shall make new one in Aswan. Why? We increase our capability for refining of crude oil for our production, and we can import crude oil from other Arab countries. We can make refining for them and increase this economic in our country. So I think the plan, as you said, that the sector of electricity and sector of petroleum and natural gas share a good in our improvement of our economy.
Yes.
And they share good also in good opportunities for workers, skilled people, high quality people, engineers, technicians, and make training for them and make connection with foreign countries, so they increase their level of